Michael Jackson's children, Paris and Prince Jackson, opening up in a rare interview as Paris begins her own music career.
Celebrated as the consummate entertainer and the undisputed king of pop, Michael Jackson continues to be an unmatched presence in the annals of music history. His impactful releases have left a lasting legacy that has captivated millions of people worldwide and even surpassed the limits of his fan base. But he was known by his daughter Paris by a far more straightforward but profound title, Dad. Paris had the rare opportunity to get to know the guy outside of the spotlight, away from the famous clothes and thrilling performances. Despite his widespread celebrity, Michael made sure Paris had a grounded childhood, giving her a feeling of authenticity that she clearly recalls when talking about her upbringing. Paris has revealed information that, although long suspected, had not been verified. What insight has she imparted? Keep watching to find out the legend's real origin. Michael Jackson's passing and its effects on Paris. On the awful day of June 25, 2009, the world mourned the loss of Michael Jackson, the beloved entertainer who had won people over with his performances. He died in his Los Angeles home following a deadly dosage of drugs that his own doctor had recommended, which caused cardiac arrest. Michael Jackson died abruptly when Paris Jackson was only 11 years old. In 2017, Paris shared with Rolling Stone a personal story that highlights the unique bond she shared with her late father. It includes something we've known for a long time but weren't first persuaded of. She disclosed that Michael had on an African rope and jade bracelet at the time of his death. Paris wears this bracelet constantly and fervently refused to take it with her when she left, demonstrating her deep commitment to it in a loving homage. It still had his smell, she even said. Paris still finds a lot of sentimentality in the plain bracelet, even in his absence. Paris has openly shared that she sees her father in her dreams and has a mystical connection to him. She feels his presence with her all the time. Michael Jackson has affected Paris both personally and in her creative pursuits. In an interview about her debut album, Wilted, Paris acknowledged her father's ongoing influence on her artistic expression. She believes that he will always influence everything she does, whether on purpose or not. Paris was exposed to her father's creative spirit as a child, which encouraged her own musical expression. Paris talked about her early years with Naomi Campbell in an interview. She said that in addition to taking her to see breathtaking landscapes, her father made sure she learned important things. He took her to a lot of different places, some rather boring ones, to help her understand life better. I was conceived in Paris, from what I've been told, which is part of why I was named Paris, born in LA, California, and was kind of raised everywhere. But I mean, we spent a few years up north in like Soul Bank, Santa Barbara area. But I was raised kind of everywhere, like the East Coast, the South, UK, Europe, the Middle East. We grew up everywhere. Paris remembers that her father was straightforward about everything, even touchy topics like history. Without sugarcoating anything, he told her the whole truth, including how Columbus hurt the native people. This illustrates his wish for his kids to have a thorough understanding of the world. In an interview, Paris talked about the parenting style of her father. Michael, she insisted, didn't lie to her, and he wanted her to experience the world, not just the glamorous parts. Education was highly valued by the Jackson family. Paris Jackson talks a lot about how her father valued education highly. She told a story in an interview about how her father sincerely wanted her to succeed academically and enjoy herself. She described how he forced her to read by telling her that in order to receive 5 stuff from items are us, she would have to read 5 books, and he would question her about them. This shows how much Michael respected his kids' brains and natural passion about learning. Paris remembers her father checking everything out with sternness. She did really well in school. She says he made a concerted effort to balance his studies and his free time. He wanted her to do well in both. Even more cunningly, he devised a scheme to use toys as rewards for her increased reading. This story illustrates Michael's great want for his kids to realize the importance of education and the necessity of continuing their education. Paris's homeschooling. Before Michael Jackson passed away unexpectedly, his children had to deal with traveling and attending school. They traveled both domestically and abroad in addition to attending regular classes. Paris Jackson had a distinct childhood, in contrast to other kids. She told Harper's Bazaar that she attended home for her first 12 years of school. This suggests that her family and other adults were her main knowledge sources. Paris and her siblings were able to have a more private upbringing since they were homeschooled, which kept them apart from the outer world. Paris Jackson and her siblings used to cover their faces with veils or masks when they went out in public. I don't really think it was an option for me to, go and be a vet or a nurse, you know? That wasn't really in the cards for me. I was born into something, and I just have to keep it going. She asserted that her father, Michael Jackson, opposed their recognition. He wanted them to have a normal childhood because he didn't have one. Paris Jackson believes that her father, Michael Jackson, had an impact on her strong morals and ethics. Paris talked about the ways in which her father's teachings have shaped her life in a Red Table Talk discussion with Willow Smith. She said she'd been asked if she planned to continue her father's legacy. This made her consider the important things she had learned from him. She asserts that she abides by these moral precepts every day. She talks about how to be nice, patient, and humble in the face of difficulty. Paris is of the opinion that you should be kind to people who have wronged you as well as to those who are lovely to you. She also feels that self-care is essential since, as they say, it gets better. These are the values that Paris's father instilled in her when she was a child and that she still holds dear now. She is working toward her dreams of being a professional musician and entertainer. Despite her dad's celebrity, she wanted to succeed on her own terms. She says she wants to work for all she gets. Paris Jackson believes that self-loyalty and honesty are essential qualities. These are the teachings she carried with her from her father. She is determined to forge a career for herself in spite of her father's past. She believes that working hard is the key to success. Paris Jackson's father, Michael Jackson, taught her the importance of accepting her African-American background. Michael made sure Paris understood and valued their shared history despite the disparities in their skin tones. Paris talked about the lessons she learned from her father in a 2017 Rolling Stone interview. She said she was of Black identity. Paris showed her faith in her father's guidance as she recounted times when Michael encouraged her to be proud of her African-American background. Paris Jackson's father, Michael Jackson, had vitiligo, which made it difficult for her to accept her appearance. She talked about this in an interview with Rolling Stone. Paris knows that there are some who don't think she looks like the Black woman she is. She claims that many people who don't know her think she's white. Still, not everyone agrees with Paris's claims. Wendy Williams objected to her remarks regarding her pale complexion, especially after reading a piece about Paris. In response, Paris questioned Wendy about why she was thinking about her family all the time. Do you agree with Wendy? Paris's body art. In order to demonstrate her close relationship with her father, Michael Jackson, Paris Jackson received meaningful tattoos. According to her admission in a 2017 Rolling Stone interview, 9 of her 80 tattoos are dedicated to her father. These tattoos are a permanent tribute to him and represent their bond. Even years after her father's death, Paris is still in mourning. To honor his memories and find comfort, she decided to permanently stamp these symbols onto her skin. Paris said in the interview that she believed Michael made her happy all the time, so she wanted tattoos that represented happiness. One of her tattoos on her collarbone says, "Faith, trust, and pixie dust," which is similar to Michael's favorite character, Peter Pan, and Paris's moniker, Tinkerbell. These tattoos show how much Paris loved Michael and how she feels about him. Another tattoo has Michael's statement engraved in it, saying, "She's the queen of my heart." Paris Jackson has body piercings for purposes other than just looks. An article in LVR magazine claims that she and her father give a lot of weight on the number of piercings she has. According to Paris, what counts is the amount, rather than each individual piercing. The feather, sunburst, and dragon, among other symbols she alluded to, all tell stories about her connection with Michael. The way Paris Jackson handles her work is a reflection of her well-known father's influence. Michael Jackson was well known for both his hard work ethic and his dedication to music. Paris has inherited this quality and makes use of it in her own pursuits. She will never forget her father's unrelenting pursuit of perfection. She tackles her musical activities as an adult with the same focus and dedication that she observed in her father. When circumstances are tough, Paris turns to music to make her feel better. As a result, she's able to concentrate more effectively and give her artistic pursuits greater attention. This was especially true in 2019 when Paris had difficulties and needed medical care. When she was under severe public attention, she found comfort in her music. She began creating music as a coping strategy and a way to cure herself. For Paris, music is a way of life and a way to find comfort in the arts, not just a vocation. The challenges of being his daughter. Being the daughter of Michael Jackson was not easy. It was very stressful to observe how the people seemed to be watching Paris all the time. She struggled with anxiety, hearing things that weren't there, and severe paranoia as a result of the paparazzi. Michael made sure his kids put on masks for protection whenever they went outside. Paris is appreciative of her father's efforts to shield them from the media, but she is also quite sensitive to noise because of her extended time in the spotlight. This periodically gives her panic attacks, making her feel like she's experiencing PTSD. Paris talked about her lengthy discussions with her father regarding the challenging circumstances he faced over his lifetime. For his children, Michael wanted a different upbringing, a normal life distant from his own strange childhood. He wanted them to enjoy everyday activities like going to Chuck E. Cheese and Toys R Us, as well as simple things like watching movies and eating junk food together. Paris remembered a time when she didn't know her father was a globally recognized figure. She just thought about him. Paris was raised in Neverland, a large 2,700-acre theme park. Contrary to popular belief, being the daughter of Michael Jackson meant that there were some extremely strict expectations. Paris, Michael's daughter, said in an interview with Rolling Stone that they couldn't just go on rides whenever they wanted. They had to show up to school every day and behave well in order to be eligible for fun weekend activities, like visiting the movies or petting the animals. If they disregarded the rules, they would lose their rights. Nonetheless, Paris continues to cherish her recollections of her time spent at Neverland. Years after Michael's death, she visited the place and told Event magazine that it was so beautiful that it made her cry. Her visit revealed how much she loved Neverland. As of 2022, businessman Ron Burkle was remodeling Neverland. However, its importance in Paris's life emphasizes how remarkable her formative years were. Beyond the bright lights of the stage, Paris discovered another side of Michael Jackson. Although his amazing talents are what fans know him for, he also showed off his culinary prowess at home. Taking his mind off the hustle and bustle of photographers and people, Michael relished preparing delicious meals for his daughter. This view of her father allowed Paris to have a private talk with him in their kitchen, away from prying eyes. They became friends because they both loved to cook. Even though they had a personal chef named Niall, Michael was an exceptionally skilled chef. Their genuine conversation and shared passion of cooking helped them form a close friendship. Paris adores the delicious fried chicken her father made, which he claimed to be the best in the world. In addition to teaching his daughter new skills and passing along knowledge, Michael used these cooking sessions to foster a close-knit family atmosphere in their kitchen. Paris and Michael also grew close in the kitchen. Paris has worked very hard to honor her father's memory after his passing. She has found meaningful ways to pay tribute to him, like celebrating his 60th birthday in 2018. At that ceremony, Paris and her brother Prince accepted a humanitarian award on their father's behalf from the Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation. This proved their commitment to preserving Michael Jackson's humanitarian and philanthropic legacy. As Paris Jackson ages, she learns more about the significance of her father Michael Jackson on a global scale. In an attempt to honor her brother Prince, Paris made a joint appearance with him in February 2022. They supported the Broadway production of MJ the Musical, which paid tribute to Michael Jackson's remarkable career. Paris and Prince were given a special chance to unite and honor their father's legacy. They wanted to say how much Michael Jackson meant to them and how pleased they were of his accomplishments. Paris and Prince walked the red carpet together, striking up conversations with reporters and posing for pictures. This shows how important their father, Michael Jackson, is to the music business even now. MJ the Musical was presented at the Neil Simon Theater in New York City. It was a novel way to recognize Michael's significant impact on the history of music. Instead of just watching the event, Paris and Prince took part in it as a way to honor their father's musical legacy. It's something to remember at all times. Prince expressed gratitude to Instagram for giving him the chance to honor his father's and his family's past. Michael Jackson's legacy was expertly preserved, and his inspirational message was skillfully conveyed by the team behind MJ the Musical, for which he expressed his gratitude and appreciation. In an interview with Naomi on No Filter, Paris, on the other hand, opened out about her father Michael Jackson's steadfast support as she pursued her dreams. Even though he made an effort to keep her away from show business, he still encouraged her to follow her passions. Paris also discussed how her childhood had shaped who she is now, noting a range of factors from her own unique experiences to her dad's introduction to her. Now, this was something we knew all along. Paris Jackson attested to her father's account, profoundly affected her taste in music. That is pretty obvious even in the way she sings. Michael, she continued, loved listening to a wide range of music, including Motown classics, jazz, hip-hop, R&B, radio songs, and classical music. His passion for a variety of musical genres, including rock and soft rock, as well as his particular fondness for the Beatles, displayed his enjoyment of music from all over the world. Paris also talked on how her father's music has influenced her career. By pursuing her own projects, she has carved out a place for herself in the music business. She has been sharing her musical experiences with her fans on Instagram ever since she joined the Soundflowers. 2020 saw Paris release her first solo album, Wilted, which was a major turning point in her career. During an interview on Good Morning America, Paris Jackson talked about how important her father, Michael Jackson, was to her growing up. He was always there for her, she said, providing her with a lot of support and encouragement. Paris made it clear that he was supporting her in all areas of her life, not just one. It presented its own set of challenges, knowing that she would be looked upon as Michael Jackson's daughter when she entered the music business. She did, however, remember her father telling her to go for her dreams, whether or not they involved being an astronaut or trying new things in life. Paris regarded herself fortunate to have a father who encouraged her to follow her aspirations and prosper in whatever she chose to accomplish. She reiterated her father's motto, "Do it and do it well." Like her father, Paris hopes to establish a reputation for herself as a bright example of tenacity, diligence, and artistic inspiration. Which song by Paris makes you think of her father the most? Do you like the music she makes? Kindly inform us by leaving a comment below.